today to our wonderful Sunday feast program, and thank you very much to Bhakti Mari Prabhu and for leading us in this wonderful bhajan. And now we are just waiting for Tejasvi Krishna Prabhu, our temple manager, to come and enlighten us in the Bhagavad Gita for about 45 minutes, and after that we will sing and dance together in front of the Lordship, Shishikonitai, and after that we will have serve out our vegetarian feast for everybody. Thank you very much once again for coming.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
So, as usual, before we start our discussion class on the Bhagavad Gita, we'll sing Jai Radha together. So let me start by asking, is there anyone here who's here for the first time today? So they're welcome. Tejasvi, there's one hand at least I saw. Yes, okay. So today, some of the previous lectures, class I've given for the Sunday, we've tried to discuss the 5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita. And we already explained that there are 5 topics. Okay, we'll just let you guess settle in. So welcome to our new guests. The Bhagavad Gita has 5 topics, and I have a great desire that everyone should know these 5 topics. So we've already spoken 2 times on this, so maybe some of you already know them. Does it ring a bell? When I say Bhagavad Gita, the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita, can anybody say? Yes, I know our Cecilia, she knows very well. She said last time, so she's already passed. I'm already satisfied. Anyone apart from Cecilia can tell these? What are the 5 topics? This most important scripture, which we take our prime guidance in spiritual life. What are the main 5 topics of this literature, of this book? Jose, yes.
Ishvara,
Yes.
Lord, Jiva,
Yes. Jiva soul. Ishvara, God, Jiva soul. Prakriti, material nature, yes. Karma. Say karma. If you say karma, it's correct, yes.
Kala.
Yeah, karma means work, and kala, time. Kala means time. So these are the 5. These are the 5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita. So we have already spoken about Ishvara. Ishvara, God, the supreme person, and we have spoken about soul, the living entities, which means all of us. So today we will speak about Prakriti, which means material nature. So what does Krishna say about material nature, Prakriti, in the Bhagavad Gita? So today, because it's sort of a little bit difficult subject matter to understand, because Krishna spends a lot of time on it, and there's many verses concerning it, so we'll jump a little bit around the Bhagavad Gita from verse to verse today, so that we somehow can get a grasp of it within the short period of time we have available. So we'll start by reading from 9th chapter to hear what Krishna says for the first verse about the material nature. And he says, Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetuna nena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So this world which we perceive, this phenomenal world of matter, this is one of Krishna's energies. So Krishna himself, he analyzes this energy, material energy. He explains further, well, how further to think about this material world, this matter. So this he does further. We'll go to the 7th chapter to hear how Krishna explains about this world in detail. We go to verse 7:4. And Krishna, he says, Bhumir apu nalovayu kammano buddhi vacha hankara ityam me bina prakriti astada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So Krishna splits the material world up in 8 parts. So what were these 8 parts? Well, first he says, earth. Everybody knows this. Everybody has maybe dug a hole in their garden at some point in time. So everybody knows what earth is. And water, we drink it every day. Try to go some days without water and you see what happens. So water, yes. And fire, we know fire. Air, we breathe it. And then we have ether. Ether is maybe a little bit difficult to understand. Ether is compared to sky. You see the wind. Where is the wind blowing? The wind is blowing in the sky. So there's a difference between air and ether. Ether is the space, but this is also counted as one of the material elements, one of the 5 gross material elements. So then Krishna says that this is the gross material nature. This is what we can see with our senses. This is the material nature, material world which we perceive with our senses. But there is another dimension. There is another part of the material world which we do not see, but which is still material. And there's 3 more things. We heard about just 5 now. I just mentioned again the five gross things. Then there's the 3 subtle things. And Krishna, he says that these are mind, intelligence, and false ego. So, who here is convinced that they have a mind? Seems that there are some hands here, yes. What's going on? All your thoughts. Where is that going on? All your thoughts, all your desires, all your plans, like the space which it goes on, like is considered the mind, which is considered a material element, part of this material creation. So we have the mind, and then we have the next subtle thing of this material world is the intelligence. So what is the difference between the mind and the intelligence? Somebody can tell the difference between the mind and the intelligence?
Intelligence has the power of discrimination?
Yes. Like intelligence is described in the scriptures as the power of discrimination. You can discern, this will be good for me, this will not be good for me. So the mind, it just comes up with a proposal. We should do this, we should do that. But then the intelligence will say, we should not do this because this will be bad for us. Or yes, we should do this because it will be good for us. So the mind, all the suggestions. But the intelligence, it discriminates between what action we should do or what we should not do. So that's, now we're up to 7. So the last one Krishna mentions is the false ego. So this is maybe more tricky because many of us might not have experienced what is false ego. I guess somebody here already knows, so it's very nice to have interaction. So we might hear from the audience. Somebody has a concept of can tell us what is the false ego? Cecilia.
I am Norwegian, I am from here, I'm from there, I am this and that.
Yes. Actually, the false ego, when there's a false ego, there must be a real ego, isn't it? When there is something false, there must be something real. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the real ego is that we are soul. We are eternal spirit soul. But for the time being, we identify with something which we are not. We identify with the material body which is made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. But we are not that earth, water, fire, air, ether. We are spirit soul. We are spirit. We are not matter. We are spirit. So that identification of ourselves with matter that is called the false ego. So then, we'll go on to taking this with us, we'll go on to the next verse, which explains how we as souls, how we are connected with this material world. What's our connection with it? So we'll hear. Apareyam itas tvanyam. Besides these, besides the 8 material elements, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So we are souls. We are here in the material world. So what is our business here? What are we doing here? And actually we find that we are trying to exploit the resources of this material world. We are trying to arrange this material world so that we will get some pleasure from it. So that's what we want from this material. We want to get some enjoyment here. And so is that a good thing? Is this a good connection? Is this a happy connection?
It's natural.
Trying to enjoy it. So this will try to discuss whether this is actually a good thing. What Krishna says about this, and he says, Prakriti Kriyamanani, the spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. So we hear here that we as souls, we are bewildered by the false ego. We think that we are the body, and we think that we are doing that. This body, we are this body, and we are doing things. But actually, we're not doing anything. Everything. Oh, we have a mobile phone there. So there's, as we know, we have the prize for mobile phones. Ringing mobile phones, then. You get to give some nice donation for the next Sunday feast. So please, mobile phones are good in that sense. So we hear in this verse, now it gets a little bit technical. So today you'll have to bear a little bit with me, because it's not an easy subject matter to understand. So you'll have to have a little patience and a little forbearance to understand this subject matter, because it's not easy. It's very difficult to understand. So please have a little bit of patience and just try as much as you can to follow the thread of it. So we heard here in this verse that we are not actually doing anything. Like the material energy, the material modes, the matter itself is just a theater. We may have some desires of what we want to enjoy, but we are just a soul inside the body, witnessing what goes on, how this material body acts in this material world based on our desires. We're not doing anything. The things are being carried out based on our desire. So Krishna mentions another thing. He says that there are 3 modes of material nature. So that's the big question. What is this? What does Krishna mean? What does Krishna mean when he speaks about 3 modes of material nature? So now now we'll try to see if we can understand what are these 3 modes of material nature. Already we heard about the 8 energies. We heard about earth, we heard about water, we heard about fire, air, and ether. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. And we heard there's also superior energy, that's the souls. So now we hear about 3 modes of material nature. This is an added thing. It's an added dimension of the material nature. So what is this? So as we know, many of the Indian congregation members, they will heard about Durga. right? Most of you heard about Durga. So Durga is actually a name for this material world, for this material energy. And as we know, Durga, she has 3 faces. You might have seen a picture in the Bhagavad Gita of Durga Devi. He said there's actually this material world. It is actually not something completely brainless, dead. It is actually a person, this material energy is actually a person who's arranging things, arranging the material situation for us. So she is called Durga Devi, and it is explained that she has 3 faces. And we will try to see what are these 3 faces, and I would like to have some interaction at this point. Otherwise, it may get stuck. So, does anybody know what are the 3? When I speak about face of Durga, does anybody know what are these 3 faces? So Silas is the best student in the class. He always has a hand. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but she's so enthusiastic, so we'll get at least 1.
You mean the 3 modes of nature? What are 3 modes of
Actually, that's correct. So, what are these?
It's Satyaguna, Sattvaguna and Rajaguna, Tamasguna.
Yes, you took them all. Yes, it's Sattva Guna. This is the first phase. Is that okay? Krishna actually says that the material world in itself is problematic, but when you compare these phases, Sattva Guna, is that the smiling face or an angry face? Or?
It's a sattvic lifestyle.
Yes. So that's maybe the more. We can say that Durga Devi, she's maybe a little bit smiling, you can say, in the Sattva Guna. Raja Guna, she doesn't really smile, or she doesn't look angry that much. She's like something in between. But in Tamaguna, she looks angry and very difficult to look at. So Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, goodness, passion, ignorance. These are the 3 material modes. So, so I would like us to understand a little bit what does it mean by this? What do we mean by what does Krishna mean by goodness? What does it mean by passion? What does it mean by ignorance? We'll try to understand this a little bit. And he says that material nature consists of 3 modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So the mode of goodness. O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So a person in the mode of goodness, that may be a person who is not, well, it says the first one is quite happy. Like if somebody is balanced, you know, if they're not easily disturbed, if they have somehow, they're a little bit, they have a good material situation. So then they can be said to be in the mode of goodness. So it's quite easy, comparatively easy life to the other 2. So we'll see about the mode of passion. What's said about that? So the mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruited actions. So we have the mode of passion. So what's the symptoms that we are influenced by the mode of passion? Well, you can say, if we look out, if we just look outside in Denmark today, when it gets 7 o'clock, no, the alarm clock it rings, and then people they rush up, they rush into the shower, they may take whatever is something very quickly to eat, and then they rush off to catch a bus or whatever to get to work on time. So this running, and working hard, stress, pressure, this endeavor, this struggle, this striving, this is the mode of passion. So it is said, Prabhupada, he said that this Western civilization, it has become advanced in the mode of passion. We're running, we're so busy all of the time. All of the time we're busy. So this is a symptom that we're in the mode of passion. We're always running somewhere. Always we have something, oh, we have to do this, we have to achieve this in the material world. So this striving, this intense desire, this is the indicative of the mode of passion. So then we had goodness, we took passion, and then there is the mode of ignorance. So what does Krishna say here about this and that? O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The result of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. So this is the most fearsome face of Durga Devi. This is where she's most ugly to look at, and we may see it. For instance, in this society, we have the unfortunate people, which many they take pity on them. We have, for instance, drug addicts, which are basically life is just a suffering from the morning till evening, and we'll often see that they can't get anything done. They're just saying the suffering in the suffering addiction, and we'll see also that they might sleep like 10 hours a day, like that. So that's the symptom. That's a symptom when we're in the mode of passion. We're dull, we're inactive, we're just lazy, and we get addicted to things like drug intoxication, and we end up becoming mad. And nowadays, like, being mad is not an uncommon thing. Like, we have so many people are waiting for psychiatric treatment because this world is tough. So some, they cannot manage it. They can't manage the pressure of this world. So what they end up in ignorance. So we have these different phases of Maya, of Durga Devi, which we can be absorbed in. Somebody here in the material world, they will look at the face of goodness. They will be in the mode of goodness. Some will be mainly in the mode of passion, running, striving, working hard. And others, they will be in the ignorance, their lives falling apart. So this is how we may find ourselves in this material world. So Krishna, he says that everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So all of us, we are looking at Durga, and we may be looking at her at her face of goodness, we may be looking at her face of passion, or we may be looking at her in a face of ignorance. So what we find that we somehow develop a certain character from this. Like you can say a drug addict, it's not easy for him to change. It's not easy for him to give up this lifestyle. Like simply if one is running and working very hard, like a workaholic, for instance, like it's difficult for him to change himself. And also when you get attached to the mode of goodness, you want your life in this way, you become attached to it. Can we see this? Mm-hmm. Did you ever try to change yourself? Mm-hmm. Did you ever try to make a conscious endeavor to change yourself? Yeah. Is it easy?
No. Difficult.
It's difficult to change us because we get fixed in some lifestyle. Like we get accustomed to one way of seeing the world, one way of acting in the world. So then what? We have this. We are conditioned in that way. We are conditioned to be influenced by the mode of goodness. We are conditioned to be influenced by the mode of passion or ignorance. What does Krishna say we should do about this? What's the import of this? So when we read the Bhagavad Gita, of course now we have short time, but if you look at Arjuna, what was Arjuna's position in this world?
Confused.
Yeah, that you can say. But what was his occupation? You can say he was a kshatriya. So what? So as we know, and now we'll have to ask for a little bit of extra patience, because now we're going to explain a little bit about this kshatriya. So as we know, in the ancient Vedic system, we have 4 castes, and all the Indians, they know it very well. We have the caste system, which is of course very condemned in the West, because we hear that this is something suppressive and very much like an unfavorable thing. But Arjuna, he was a kshatriya, which means he was a fighter. And Krishna, he asked Arjuna that he should fight for him, that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, because he desired that fight. Fighters are in the mode of passion. If you want to go out to fight a war, that means that you have to be a passionate, you have to be assertive, you have to have this energy, you have to be in this energy of this passionate energy. So Krishna, he sees that Arjuna, he's in that energy. Krishna says to Arjuna, my dear friend, you are in the mode of passion. That's your nature. You can't change that nature. Like we try to change ourselves, sometimes we can't change ourselves. So Krishna, he says to Arjuna, well, you can't change that nature. You are a fighter. You will have to fight. So what you do? You fight for me. Don't fight for your own sake, but you fight for me. Yes. So, Krishna, he says, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. So we are bound. We are spirit souls. We are bound to this world. We are bound to these bodies. So how to get free from this bondage? That's actually the most. That's actually the thing to understand from the Bhagavad Gita. That's actually what Krishna he tries to teach us. So how do you use this knowledge today to become free from the bondage of this material world? Could anybody arrive at the conclusion from what we have spoken today? I know this is not easy.
To have connection with the everlasting, which is Krishna, that means connect yourself and stop, change yourself from materialism to spiritualism, and have a direct connection, because materialism is temporary, Krishna is permanent, the spiritual soul.
Yes, but because today we spoke about the material world, we spoke about the most material nature, we spoke about goodness, passion, ignorance, and we see that we are either in one of these 3. So that's called our conditioned nature. So how do we use this conditioned nature in order to get free from the bondage of the material world?
Serve Krishna.
To surrender to Krishna. But how to surrender to Krishna? Okay. So we discussed all these points about goodness, passion, and ignorance, because we see that What is Krishna asking from Arjuna? Is he asking him for the first thing? Is he asking him first of all to chant?
No.
Of course. What is he asking him?
To do his karma.
To do his duty.
Yes, he says that he says, my dear friend Arjuna, you are a fighter. Your nature is to fight. You will fight all the same. So what you do, you fight for me. Don't fight for your own sake. Don't just fight to enjoy, to fight to enjoy this material world, but fight for my sake, because I want it, because I'm ordering this fight, this war. So Krishna is asking Arjuna to engage his conditioned nature. He is engaged to guide his acquired nature for his sake. So we all have a conditioned nature. Like either we are like Ganesh, we are fighters like Arjuna, or we are more like priests, like who study Vedic literature, or we are businessmen who trade in this world, or we are people who like to work, do something with our hands, build things. So these are the four castes: the Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmana. So we will be mostly connected to one of these castes. So Krishna's instruction to Arjuna that engage your nature for my sake, you fight for my sake. So Krishna, he says that those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and follow this teaching faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. So Krishna, the same advice as he's giving to Arjuna, he's giving to all of us. Because we have some duty to perform here. We may work as doctors, we may work as lawyers, whatever. So Krishna says that you do that duty, but you do it for my sake. Whatever comes from that duty, don't spend it for yourself selfishly. Don't try to enjoy. Don't try to try not to exploit this material world and be forgetful of me. Try to engage in that duty, thinking of me, and whatever result you get from it, use it for my sake. This is the practical. What he's asking us. This is what Krishna is asking us. And if we do this, if we do like this, then we will not be bound by it. We'll disconnect ourselves from the material world. And what does disconnecting yourself from the material world mean? It means that you will not have to take another birth, and you will not have to go through another death. Because being here, trying to exploit the material world, means that you will have to go through repeated birth and death. That's what it means to be connected. And if you just... So, Krishna is asking us, do our duty for his sake. Then, this bondage to this material world will be broken. And we will again become pure spirit soul. We will give up this false identification with this body through service. To doing our duty as performing our duty as a service to Krishna. This material world is only here because we want to disobey, we want to forget Krishna. As soon as you want to serve Krishna, then it means the material world is ceasing to exist. So the problem is that we don't serve Krishna. We serve our own selfish desires. We are trying to exploit this material world. That's why we're suffering. We're simply doing whatever you're doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna. That means that we serve Krishna. That means that the material world, it will stop to exist for us. Okay, so we already... So, thank you very much for your patience. I think there's very little time because we attempted to go on a very large subject matter. I hope some of you I hope that you were able to get the gist of it. And maybe one last question, maybe one small question. Okay, Sophia, yes.
There's actually a comment that I would like that next Sunday you could elaborate on these points because they are very, very deep points, and they are very how everyone can engage practically in a devotional service. Like many people here said, that you can transcend these qualities, three modes of material nature, by performing devotional service, and you elaborated that we should use ourselves in Krishna's service, our qualities in Krishna's service. But how practically, for example, if I'm a doctor, if I'm a student, if I am a housewife, like how do I practically engage myself in Krishna's service?